The Last Light of Constantinople. The Fall of the Greatest City on Earth. 1453. Prologue. The city the world desired. For more than 1,000 years, Constantinople stood as the greatest prize on earth. Its walls had defied armies and emperors. Its churches shimmered with gold. Its harbors controlled the wealth of continents. To the Romans, it was New Rome. To Christians, it was God's chosen city. To Muslims, it was the ultimate conquest foretold by prophecy. And in the spring of 1453, the city stood alone. The Byzantine Empire, once ruler of the Mediterranean world, had shrunk to little more than the city itself. Its provinces were gone. Its armies were shadows of the past. Its treasury was empty. But Constantinople still stood, and that was enough to make it irresistible. Beyond its massive stone walls, a young Ottoman sultan prepared for history. His name was Mehmed II. He was only 21 years old, and he intended to do what no one else had ever done. He intended to break the city that had broken empires. Chapter 1. A city built to defy. Constantinople was not merely a city. It was a fortress shaped by destiny. Founded in the year 330 by Emperor Constantine the Great, it sat astride the Bosphorus Strait, the narrow waterway that divided Europe and Asia. Whoever controlled Constantinople controlled trade between East and West. The city's greatest strength was its defenses. The Theodosian walls, built in the 5th century, stretched across the western land approach. 3 layers deep, moat, outer wall, inner wall, reinforced with towers every few meters. They were considered impregnable. For centuries, enemies had come. Persians, Arabs, Avars, Bulgars, Russians, they had all failed. Even the Vikings, fierce as they were, could not take it by force. Constantinople was protected not just by stone, but by legend. Its people believed the Virgin Mary herself guarded the city. Relics were paraded along the walls whenever danger approached, and for nearly a millennium the belief held true. But by the 15th century, faith alone was no longer enough. Chapter 2. The Empire that Refused to Die. By 1453, the Byzantine Empire was a ghost. Once, under emperors like Justinian, it had stretched from Spain to Syria. But centuries of war, civil conflict, and betrayal had reduced it to almost nothing. Constantinople, a few nearby towns, and the distant province of Morea in Greece. The empire's last ruler, Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos, knew the truth. He ruled not a world empire, but a doomed city. Still, he refused to surrender. Constantine was not a fool. He tried diplomacy, he tried alliances. He begged Western Europe for help, but Europe was divided. Catholic and Orthodox Christians distrusted each other. The memory of the Fourth Crusade, when Western Crusaders had brutally sacked Constantinople in 1204, still burned like an open wound. A few ships came, a few soldiers, some words of encouragement, but no army. If Constantinople fell, it would fall alone. Chapter 3. The Young Sultan with a Dream. Across the Bosphorus, a new power was rising. The Ottoman Turks had grown from a small frontier tribe into a formidable empire in just 150 years. They surrounded Constantinople on every side, except the sea. Their leader was Mehmed II, a brilliant, ambitious, and ruthless young ruler. Mehmed had studied history. He knew the failures of past sieges. He knew why Constantinople had survived, and he was determined to change everything. Unlike previous sultans, Mehmed prepared obsessively. He built a massive fortress, Rumeli Hisari, on the European shore of the Bosphorus, directly opposite an older Ottoman fort. Together, they choked off all sea traffic to the city. No food, no reinforcements, no escape. Then Mehmed turned to technology. Chapter 4. The Cannon that Changed History. Enter Urban, a Hungarian engineer. Urban claimed he could build a cannon unlike anything the world had ever seen. Mehmed listened. What Urban created was monstrous. The Great Bombard was over 8 meters long and fired stone balls weighing over half a ton. It required dozens of oxen to transport and hundreds of men to operate. When it fired, the sound could be heard miles away. Constantinople's walls had been built to resist ladders, rams, and catapults, not gunpowder artillery. For the first time in history, the ancient balance between walls and attackers was shifting. The age of medieval fortifications was coming to an end, and Constantinople would be the proof. Chapter 5. The siege begins. On April 6, 1453, the Ottoman army arrived. Between 80,000 and 100,000 men encircled the city. Inside Constantinople, there were fewer than 7,000 defenders. Among them were Greeks, Genoese, Venetians, and a handful of volunteers from across Europe. The most famous was Giovanni Giustiniani, a skilled Genoese commander who took charge of the land defenses. The Ottomans positioned their cannons, and then the bombardment began. Day after day, the wall shook, stones cracked, towers crumbled. The defenders rushed to repair breaches each night using rubble, wood, and earth. Priests prayed, citizens carried supplies, children helped fill gaps. This was not just a battle for a city, it was a battle for civilization as they knew it. Chapter 6. Fire on land, chains on the sea. The city's greatest advantage lay in its harbor, the Golden Horn, a massive iron chain stretched across its entrance, preventing enemy ships from entering. As long as the chain held, the city could receive supplies and prevent a full naval assault. Mehmed faced a problem, so he did something no one expected. In a feat of engineering brilliance, the Ottomans dragged their ships overland. They built wooden tracks, greased with animal fat, and hauled dozens of warships over hills and forests, around the chain and into the Golden Horn. When the people of Constantinople awoke and saw Ottoman ships inside their harbor, panic spread. There was now no safe side of the city, no place to rest, no place to hide. Chapter 7. Prophecy and Fear. As the siege dragged on, fear deepened. Ancient prophecies circulated among the people. Some said the city would fall when the moon turned dark. On May 22nd, a lunar eclipse cast a red glow over Constantinople. Many believed it was a sign. Inside Hagia Sophia, the greatest church in Christendom, crowds gathered to pray. Some wept. Others waited in stunned silence. Emperor Constantine moved among his people, encouraging them, sharing their danger. He knew his fate, but he would not abandon his city. Chapter 8. The Final Assault. On the night of May 28th, Mehmed ordered his army to prepare. Drums beat, horns sounded, prayers were said. At dawn on May 29th, 1453, the final attack began. Wave after wave crashed against the walls. First came irregular troops, meant to exhaust the defenders. Then came trained Anatolian soldiers. Finally, the elite Janissaries, the pride of the Ottoman army. Amid the chaos, disaster struck the defenders. Giustiniani was wounded, possibly mortally, and carried from the walls. His withdrawal shattered morale. A small gate, the Kerka Porta, was left open. Whether by accident or confusion remains unknown. Ottoman soldiers poured in. The walls were breached. The city was lost. Chapter 9. The death of an emperor, Emperor Constantine XI, refused to flee. He removed his imperial regalia and joined the fighting as a common soldier. His final words, according to legend, were a cry of despair and defiance. "The city has fallen, and I am still alive." He charged into the enemy. His body was never definitively identified. The last Roman emperor vanished into history, killed in the streets of his own capital. Chapter 10. The Sack of Constantinople. By tradition, a captured city was allowed to be looted for 3 days. Chaos followed. Homes were pillaged. Churches were stripped. Thousands were killed or enslaved. Hagia Sophia, the spiritual heart of Eastern Christianity, was entered by Ottoman troops. People praying inside were taken captive. Later that day, Sultan Mehmed entered the city. He rode to Hagia Sophia, dismounted, and ordered it converted into a mosque. But he also did something unexpected. He ordered an end to the destruction. Constantinople was no longer an enemy city. It was now his capital. Chapter 11. A new world begins. Mehmed II declared himself Caesar-i-Rum, Caesar of Rome. The Byzantine Empire was gone, but Constantinople lived on, reborn as Istanbul, capital of the Ottoman Empire. The consequences of the fall rippled across the world. Greek scholars fled west, carrying ancient manuscripts that helped ignite the Renaissance. Trade routes shifted, pushing Europeans to seek new paths to Asia, leading ultimately to the Age of Exploration. The medieval world ended, the modern world began. Epilogue: the city that never truly fell today, Constantinople still stands. Its walls still rise. Its skyline still dominates the Bosphorus. Its streets still echo with history. Empires have come and gone, but the city remains a bridge between worlds, religions, and centuries. And somewhere in its stones, the last stand of an emperor still whispers that even when history ends, courage does not.